Drew and Fuse Show, the Drew and Fuse Show. They clean up nicely. It's the Drew and Fuse Show, the Drew and Fuse Show, the Drew and Fuse Show. Yeah, they clean up nicely. Yeah.
Hello, Dafs Punks in the building. How's everybody feeling today on this bright Wednesday?
Well, if everybody, you mean me, I'm feeling good.
Feeling good, feeling great.
It is a Swiftie weekend here in Cincinnati. We have Taylor Swift in town. She is taking over the city. She's not only playing one, but two sold-out shows at Paycor Stadium, a.k.a. what they are calling Taycor Stadium.
Oh man, interesting. Well, that should be fun down by the banks. You're gonna have girls, all kinds of girls down there.
Yeah, so they're saying 65,000 tickets sold to the concert. We have a Reds game both Friday and Saturday that I get to work. Lucky me, yay. There's over 35,000 tickets sold to each game Friday and Saturday. They're expecting another 25,000 people on top of that just to be down there hanging out. So over 100,000 people in that 3-block area.
I mean, you think if the Reds and the Bengals could do that by themselves, just Swiftie bringing in the heat.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I think it's great. They're starting the Reds game early tomorrow, today's Thursday and the game's on a Friday. They're starting the Reds game early. They're pushed it up to 5:10 start time so they could open the gates early to hopefully get people in there early because of traffic. So I'm going to get down there as early as possible and just hopes that
Do you think there's any bigger artist right now that could draw that kind of numbers?
Not sold out 2 days in a row like that. I mean, I don't think Drake.
I'm not talking about a band.
I don't think Drake is going to do that either. I don't think Drake's selling out 65,000 shows in a row.
Maybe in Toronto, but not Cincinnati.
Yeah. To get things started, we do have a great guest today, and we want to talk to him about a lot of stuff. We had a cool bio written, but then we learned nobody cares. And that's if you go look at his bio, you'll understand.
Wait, we have to mention the ATL and DMS.
All right,
the ATLC. Fine. The ATLC?
Fine. First, we will talk about Drew and I going to Atlantic City for the DJ Expo show. If you guys are going to be there, let us know. We will be there passing out some swag for DMS, some Drew and Fuse show swag. We're going to do a little, what we like to call Sacagawea coin meetup, where you you bring your Sacagawea coins and you pay the bartenders all in Sacagawea coins at a casino bar.
Yeah, that is definitely happening. So hit up your local bank. That's the only way to get them is you got to take a C note to the local bank and just expect to spend some money. So take a C note to the local bank, say I need $100 in Sacagawea coins. They'll lace you up, and then you bring that over to the party, and we're gonna get drunk. And
you're probably gonna have to fly it there, though. Yeah, that's the thing, because they're not gonna have enough Sacagawea coins in an Atlantic City bank for all these C notes that they're gonna be cashing in.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to fly it there. So you do it at your home bank. You go to your home bank and you say, hey, I need a C note and Sacagawea coins. You bring that bad boy over to the party. We're going to have some freebies. We're going to do a couple little interviews, and we're going to get drunk on dollar coins. So it's going to be fun.
We're going to tell everybody that we just hit the jackpot. That's why we have all these coins.
So plan on that. Atlantic City, be there. We'll be announcing exactly when and where, but just put it in your notes. Expect to do it.
Yeah, probably call ahead to the bank now so you can make sure you have those Sacagawea coins. Also, like I said, we're going to be handing out swag for DMS. And, speaking of DMS, if you use the promo code Drew and Fuse Show, it'll get you 30% off your first month of activation. If you haven't signed up for DMS yet, make sure you check it out. Use the promo code Drew and Fuse Show. 30% off your first month, and come hang out with us in Atlantic City. We can move forward to today's guests. We had a cool bio written, and then we learned nobody cares. See, I'm doing it over again because why not? He's a resident for Tao Group. He travels the world DJing. He plays in all kinds of different cities every night. If you're not following him on Instagram, make sure you're following him on Instagram. He's a scam artist. He's a billboard reporter. He's from the streets of Detroit, but now he's living in Austin, Texas. Please help us welcome Captn20.
Hey! What's up, boys?
What's up? So,
I did 100 push-ups before I got on today. It's, no lie.
I need to start that in the morning. I need a new morning routine. I need to get up and just start doing some shit.
Yeah, I mean, I actually do. I'm very like methodical about my morning routine. So when I'm on it, it's the best. But I highly encourage it. You know, find 15 minutes as soon as you get out of bed and do some shit that's not comfortable, and it really kind of like sets the pace for your whole day.
I think that's a good thing. Drew's definition of a morning routine is taking a 15-minute bird ride around the old neighborhood. That's his morning workout.
That's nice.
So
It's a really good way to get the blood flowing.
During pandemic, we got those the Trump bucks, and I was like, we could use this responsibly, or we could buy some bird scooters. So we threw down on some bird scooters, and it's fun as fuck. I just love to get the wind going through your air and whatnot. It's a good way to wake up.
It's too bad it's too bad you paid for those. I know a guy, so next time let me know.
A guy that can hack them. Switch
Yeah,
the
of
chip
course.
out.
Oh, well, it seems like you already know about that trick.
I need them for the replacements of these ones coming up here soon. So I'm gonna have to look
Could
into
be
the
a
guy.
good side business.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
guy behind the guy.
you've already got the van, Drew. You can just throw him in the van, get it going.
It's not a bad idea.
That's not creepy at all. As if we don't have enough things going against us. You riding around in a van.
Well, it's a creepier van than you're thinking it is. It is.
Ooh, tell me more.
And they got to do school drop-offs on it, so it only makes it worse.
Can I Turo it next time I'm in town?
Dude, real talk, I would probably spend a bunch of money because I do travel for doing travel weddings. I would throw the shit out of a panel van.
You know what vans are good for traveling DJs, stuff like that, is the old Chevy Astro.
This is the NV200. It's like the updated version of the Chevy Astro.
Oh, nice. Well,
It's
must be good.
it's
I mean that about all your businesses.
All right.
Sorry, guys. I'll let you talk. It's your show. I don't know what I'm doing over here.
all I was gonna say is, it's a money van because somebody stole the catalytic converter off of it a couple months ago.
Yeah, there you go.
In my fucking driveway.
Those will always be in demand for scrap.
Yeah. So you're in Austin now.
I am here in ATX.
And moving from Detroit to Austin, how has that been? And one thing, the last time I was there is the homeless, which drives me fucking nuts. It was over rampant in Austin.
Yeah, it was pretty bad when I first seriously considered moving here. Was towards the end of 2020. During pandemic. That was the longest I had been home in about 15 years. And, I just had made a decision that, it was time for me to relocate to a place where more so, not just for opportunity, but quality of life, climate, people, community, those things. And Austin was always a place that I had sort of had on my mind. And I came here during the pandemic. And yeah, the homeless situation was, it felt like downtown LA down here.
I went the same time to possibly relocate, and that's why I bring it up, is that's was on my mind of I don't know.
Yeah, well, Austin is kind of its own. I would say its own state within a state. I think it has its own identity when it's compared to the rest of Texas. but the government finally got involved and sort of cleaned up the city, for lack of a better term. But it's still tough. The temperature is 100. It's 115, 112 with the heat index today. So anyone that doesn't have a place to live is suffering.
Right.
With impoverished living situation is not going to be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quite an interesting journey. Originally I was looking in Miami and then Vegas, and we're sort of chasing the real estate at that time in 21 when everything was skyrocketing. And I ended up back out here to play a festival, reconnected with a bunch of people. And, it was for me the best combination of all the things that are priority for me in my life now. I wish the airport was a little bit better here. It's definitely not ideal for people that travel all over like we do. So that's been a challenge, but just like anything else, it's like you got to look at the pros and cons of it and figure out ways to be resourceful and navigate through it more efficiently. Yeah, there's good ass food at the airport though, that's for sure.
Just in Austin in general, there's good ass food. All the food trucks and just incredible.
Yeah,
Austin's
it really is.
One of the places I haven't been actually though. So
you need to get out here.
Yeah, I gotta make a trip. I've heard a lot of good things always about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say like as far as the DJ community and our industry, in the year or so that which physically with traveling, that's only maybe been collectively about 4 or 5 months actually home. I've seen more homies and DJ colleagues and artist friends and industry friends that are here coming to visit or coming to perform, or they're involved in so much. I've seen more people like that than I have maybe in 10 years living in Michigan. So as sad as that sounds, it tells you a little bit about just how exciting and energetic the town is, and just how much stuff there's always going on here that's drawing more and more talent to the city.
So speaking of Michigan again, when you were there, correct me if I'm wrong, you were working at the club inside the MGM, the casino there, right? You were doing the talent buying and kind of all that?
Yeah, and I'm still doing that. I still have accounts and business in Michigan, not so much as before, but we still do a lot of curating for smaller venues. Outside services essentially is what I did. My company did for MGM. We started in about 2008, and sort of at that time we had a full nightclub there. It was one of the more recognized clubs, at least in the Midwest, especially in Detroit. Booking the talent, doing the programming, the advances, everything from curating the go-go dancers to the door hosts to marketing and promotions.
Oh wait, talk about curating go-go dancers though.
Yeah, I knew that would get your attention.
We're skipping over the important part.
Yeah, it's a specialized business. The same way you curate DJs. They just have a different skill set that is required. So
he rounds them up in a panel van and takes them to the club.
Yeah, if you know where I can get a good one right now, I'm looking for a new one.
Jokes aside, you do it. You just I'm guessing it is the same as DJs. Do you just have everyone show up at a club? Do they rotate through on actually a busy night, or do you?
Yeah. We schedule them out. If you look at venues across the world that have performers of any kind, whether they're go-go dancers, whether they're acrobats or any of that sort, you look at what the brand is, you want them to fit the brand, you want them to move a particular way, and you want them to look a particular way, their wardrobe, things like that. So, really, like, one of the fun parts for me was helping design the wardrobe. Anytime we had a signature event occurring in town or the venue, one of the things I love to do was do themed events instead of it always being talent driven. It was more of trying to find that balance between, we're technically a 300 cap venue, and in Detroit you're talking about, you don't really see your sales until close to midnight. So you had an hour and a half to make all your money. You know, you can't spend $100,000 on talent or even $50,000 on talent. You have to be really resourceful with how you manage the funds and where they go and so forth. So a lot of times it was just, you know, if the Grand Prix is in town, we would have like a racing theme. The girls would be dressed up in, you know, racing outfits, or if it was a Halloween theme event. I used to love doing Halloween.
It's the greatest holiday of all time.
Oh, the best. I mean, Alice in Wonderland, they're all dressed that way. I did a Star Wars birthday party, dressed them all like Princess Leia one night. And, you know, so all that shit was really fun. It was something that, if you think about that time starting in around 2008, you know, not everything was social media based. So, you know, it was very much more about creating cool experiences that people would be like, oh, damn, that was cool as hell. Or, wow, we didn't even feel like we were in Detroit, or something to that effect, you know? And so that was kind of why I was so hands-on with everything. But in addition to that, you know, working with a casino property, especially like MGM, you know, they have high standards and a very low probability for failure. So, you know, in order to protect my business there and everyone's jobs, you know, I had to make sure that I was very involved and was very responsive to, you know, any issues or needs, and constantly kept moving the needle forward, you know.
And that was V Nightclub, correct? That was what it was called?
Correct. Yep.
And a lot of guys, you said 2008, right? Because I remember kind of seeing Dexstar guys and kind of that whole thing in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I officially took over in 2009 and just kind of started behind the scenes a little bit before that. And at that time, you know, we were also booking guys like AM in other venues in Detroit. And we were trying to make that city understand what this whole lifestyle, celebrity type DJ, multi-genre DJ, why this was so special. You know, in Detroit, you were either an underground DJ or you were a hip hop DJ. And those were really the two scenes. And, you know, merging them, one, was very difficult still. But, you know, a lot of music purists there. So even for myself, I started as an underground DJ. I was trance and drum and bass and, you know, Latin house. And when I found myself, you know, needing to expand, you know, I would bring in other hip hop DJs to perform with me. And we'd go back and forth before there was B2B, and even really before there was a label called Open Format. We didn't realize it, but we were playing open format sets, but we were just switching. You know, I would do the house stuff, my homies would do the hip hop stuff, and then we would find a way to make it like cohesive. And then before I knew it, I was like, well, I guess I need to make a decision here on what direction I'm going to go, what kind of DJ I'm going to be. And, you know, it just sort of happened where I got into the open format world. Yeah. You know, it was still a hard sell. So when I first started booking like Dexstar guys, it was mainly because of AM. Then AM passed on, rest in peace. And, you know, the next guys were really Jazzy Jeff, who was with Dexstar at the time, Steve, who was still with Dexstar. Steve Aoki at that time was doing shows with Tommy Lee.
Oh, I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that era, if you figure like 2007 to about 2010, 11, it was real heavy with reality TV. Mm-hmm. So we will book a combination of, you know, hosts or different hosts. You know, we had Kim Kardashian in 2007 or 2008, several of the other Kardashians later on. And then it was like, you know, reality shows like Jersey Shore and things like that. So there was a pocket where that was really big for us in that market. And then I kind of started to see the trends a little bit. And I'm like, okay, well, we're still Detroit. We're still a very respected music community. I had to be careful not to pitch too much of that to give the community the wrong idea of what our venue was, you know? So it would be like, maybe we do a host here, then we do a really big electronic act, then we do, you know, a crossover act. So, you know, that was also a lot of fun for me. It was challenging to try to stay ahead of the trends. And also you don't want to go over the market's head with shit. Yeah. And you still had to stay within a budget. So just because we were MGM didn't mean we had MGM money. We had very, very small amount of
right.
budget to play with.
So were you yourself opening for a lot of these guys when they would come through the club?
Yes, almost all of them. You know, at least for the first 3 or 4 years. And you know, that was one of my goals. I recognized the power of networking a long time ago. So even though I was doing all the back end work and admin stuff, I had to make sure that I opened. I had to make that relationship. It was always really important for me to connect with the artists, whether you were a $1,000 DJ or $50,000 DJ. You know, it was part of it was I always wanted the guys to be set up right. You know, I think all of us have an opinion on what a opener should do. But you know, in Detroit in particular, you know, it was at least where I came up, opening was a privileged slot to have. Like if you got to open for anyone, that was a true honor, and you really it was a lot more work and a lot more pressure than headlining, because I wanted to just always make it the perfect mix, and you want the artist to leave with a smile. We want them to come in with a smile. So, you know, that was always, I would set up the shows, I would handle the advances, I would handle the transportation, the artist hospitality, all that shit, and then I'd be in there to open, and it was a lot.
It's cool because at the time it's a lot, but you know, you're also learning so much stuff that you could take with you afterwards that you know, at the time you might not even think about, but it's like you know, a training ground for, it's a master class in like invaluable stuff, where if you ever wanted to take it after the fact of DJing.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's something that, like, any aspiring DJs or any guys out there that are in that slot, you know, be mindful of who you're working with. Like, I think that was one of the things that taught me very early on, was like, you know, this is an opportunity to cultivate a relationship with someone. Don't just unplug your headphones and walk away, or don't show that person any respect. Show respect. Like, they're getting paid to play this slot for a reason. Maybe you don't think they're that great of a DJ, or maybe you think you're better than them, or whatever the case is, but you know, take your ego out of there and like embrace that moment, embrace that opportunity, and you know, have some awareness about like who's in the booth with you, because that person, you might not know, that person might be a $1,500 DJ today, and 6 months from now they're the chain smokers. That's exactly that's an exact perfect story that like was one of my bookings, and wow, know, they're a great testament to that, you know. So
me and Fuse, I think, went through a lot of the same things on the come up, and that's why, to be honest with you, both of us work for DMS, is because we both were opening for Kevin Scott, and you know, it was just that perfect little transition into our story.
I mean, DJing, and you know how it is. It's a kind of a tight knit circle. The guys that are doing anything kind of all know each other, and you know, you as well as me know that you could go to probably any city and know somebody or find something to do just based on the fact of, you know, your career and what you've done. And it's a cool thing at the same time to kind of have that experience, and you know, kind of been around since that kind of decade where like the open format DJs were coming up, and now the guys that are doing their thing then are pretty much the same ones that are still doing the thing now. And I feel like it's a testament to the talent. I don't know, maybe it's a testament to you know, the what's going on musically and stuff in the world too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think a lot of it too is just work ethic and attitude, and I think that we were fortunate to have to go through, you know, the what I call the trenches, you know, standing outside in the cold waiting for records and put flyers on cars, and all that shit humbles you. It makes you realize, like, you know, when you really think about it, 2% of the population gets to do what we do, maybe less. So, you know, I think the newer generation of talent, I hope that they can do a little bit of that homework and history and realize, like, man, like, you know, these previous generations have helped pave the way for us to be successful. Technology has helped pave the way for us to be successful without having a chip on your shoulder about it. that makes any sense.
Yeah, of course.
I saw you were you posted that you're going to be in Chicago soon, so I wanted to bring this up. The first time I met you was in Chicago. I was playing at the Underground. You were there for I think it was U2 at
oh yeah.
They play at the Cubs Stadium.
It was Soldier Field that night.
Soldier Field. Yeah.
Yeah.
We like briefly met.
I just posted one of those pictures today, oddly enough.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It was like real brief, and I want to say it was like 2016 or 2017.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Underground. I heard did they reopen?
I think I saw somebody recently, maybe it was Joe Maz. Somebody recently, I saw like a flyer that was playing there again.
Oh, right on.
At that time, Phenom was living in Chicago, and that's who I was getting booked through. I would come up and do like the occasional Sunday. So I was there on a Sunday night.
Oh, nice. You're in where? Cincy now, or?
Cincy, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yep. Yeah, Drew's out in Long Beach.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
In California.
Wow, that's quite a difference.
Well, we all connect through GMS.
The LBC.
Yeah. So I would love to just flip it up and do some music, and then we'll get back to like what you do for talent buying and everything after that. But
sure.
I wanted to talk some music.
Yeah. We got these really high class, high budget productions, you could say, that we play for segment videos. So we're going to play one now, and then we'll get started.
Hello, this is Bond. James Bond. Joanne Fuse, I think it's about time we talk about music. Personally, I like to listen to grown and sexy smooth jazz with my favorite girl, Pussy Galore. Now make me a cold martini, shaken, not stirred. And break down your top music.
That was quite epic.
All right, there's
actually
Bond.
He wants to know. I need that for my collection.
That outfit, though, he's rocking, so amazing.
That's not what your mother said last night, Trebek. You guys ever see that?
We just found it.
Yeah. Will Ferrell, Sean Connery.
That's so good.
We need you to be our. It sounds like we need you to be our new Sean Connery impersonator for everything moving forward. If you're down,
I'm pretty good at Sean Connery. Actually.
Yeah. Okay. So moving forward, we're gonna ask you to do our Sean Connery impersonations,
because we just signed Stone on to a 10-year contract to be our Michael McDonald impersonator.
Oh, wow. Only if he sings also.
Could be amazing. All right, hit them.
All right, so we're gonna talk a little Serato top 5 music. So anything that you want to mention. Usually, sometimes we do like the top 5 most played in your Serato library. If you want to mention, just top 5 tracks you're playing now, that's cool too. However you want to do it, it's up to you.
Well, I think, that was a little bit tough because I've been playing a lot of different styles of rooms. Mm-hmm. So, but I think across the board, a lot of electronic stuff, just Fisher's new one, Take It Off, Baggin, Chris Lake. I'd say Fred Again still is, Baby Again is still big. John Summit, Where Are You? Where You Are, Where Are You? Where Are You?
Yep.
Where Are You? Are wherever.
Yeah.
And then I think
a lot of I was gonna say been getting a lot of John Summit requests lately.
Oh yeah,
and Fred Again.
Yeah, they're massive. I mean, huge.
Yeah.
And Hugel, Mornita.
The John Summit requests right now remind me like before Avicii like blew up, where it was like, can you play Avicii? And you're like, I'm playing it right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what's happening with the John Summit stuff. Like you'll be playing a John Summit track, and like somebody will be like, can you play it? And you're like,
it's literally playing as we speak.
Yeah.
I hear you. It's still, listen, I'll take that over seeing phones in my face for Bad Bunny.
Yeah. I would much rather just the in-person request than the just holding up of the phone.
Yeah, I've done some bad things to people's phones.
What have you done?
Yeah.
What are the tricks?
Just off top, I mean, one guy, I told him if he put his phone up in my face again, I was going to chuck it across the room, and I 100% snatched it out of his hand, chucked it across the room, and then that didn't go well for him. And then one magically fell into a half melted bucket of ice in the DJ booth after also requesting multiple times to stop texting in my peripheral, which is something that really, really annoys me. I don't know about you guys, but nothing worse than people just standing in your blinders texting while you're trying to, do your thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's a huge college town, so they don't know, right? They're from all over the country.
And that hasn't happened here. That hasn't happened in Austin. Actually,
okay.
People in Austin has. I will say I was quite impressed when I actually start to immerse myself in the industry here. It's a lot of great local talent, and the venues, the community is very well educated on music. So, it's been really fun to take some chances here and play more of the stuff I really want to play and know that I can get away with it,
So club wise, you mentioned like all these house tracks. Is that, I mean, those are the big stuff right now, but is that what you would say the overall feel of the whole night is, or are you still like dipping in and then dipping out and coming?
I still move around a little bit. Just personally, sort of after pandemic, I kind of just reevaluated where I want to be, what makes me happy, and I still do some clubs where it's a lot of Latin, a lot of hip hop and things like that. But, I think that even in those venues, I'm still sprinkling in these tracks and getting to that, a segment of my set where those work in a way where it's sort of like, you didn't even really see it coming kind of thing. And, I always want to try to educate and introduce stuff in a way, but, you have to spoon feed them depending on where you are. But I mean, there hasn't been a venue that I have played in the last 6 months where these tracks didn't work. So whatever it was, or whatever that even event was,
I think Drew and I were in San Diego when you were playing, we were playing a gig in San Diego, and you were playing the El Chingon in San Diego. But I think it was
goes off.
Like we missed each other by a night or something.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, these I can pull off there too. Again, certain venues you gotta make work when they make sense. What's great about like a venue like that is they have really big production in there, so you feel like you're in a badass nightclub.
Right.
And they respect the DJs there, so as long as you know what you're doing, you can pull stuff like that off.
I agree. Most of the two spots I'm playing, the Friday night's more of a party bar, and the second night, or my Saturday night, is more of a club, but it's more like a dance club. It's not like a bottle service club, and I can still sneak. I'm playing a lot of like just straight up pop stuff. You even were at the one that I play on a Friday that time, and
that place was cracking. Couldn't even move in there.
Yeah. But I still play some of that stuff there. So I think, if you're a good DJ, you know how you can kind of push the limits of what you can make work, and that.
Exactly.
Any other notable mentions of new tracks you're into or liking or anything like that?
I think, I'm playing a lot more deeper house, organic stuff. So I think that some of it may or may not resonate with, the audience, but, I think that just in general, my genres are moving in more of a direction of like Latin house and more electronic stuff again. And I think that just on a wider scale, that has definitely made a resurgence. You're starting to see commercial venues be more into that kind of talent. In general, that's kind of just the direction I'm going. And then there's stuff like, peso, which is especially in places like Fort Worth and San Diego and El Chingon and things like that. That's like that shit I would have no idea about, but Peso Pluma, but it's blowing up everywhere. So he's huge.
It's the new Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It definitely is.
How many nights a week are you currently playing? Are you only doing like one or two, or travel? Are you
Yeah,
local?
I'm just, I cut back pretty substantially again, like after pandemic, and moving also to Austin. I've had to take a little bit of a different approach on how I do things. When you live in a city like Detroit your whole life, you sort of are a staple there, as you guys know, in your own markets. And after a while, you just you feel pigeonholed, and it's hard to really. It's great money, if you want to be doing that, but I don't want to play 150 shows a year anymore.
Right.
I would like to just get to a point where I'm playing venues in markets that I really love, that I really am invested in. And in my hometown now in Austin, I'm just trying to curate unique events. Like, I didn't come here to take gigs away from great local talent. I want to find my lane that's going to help me continue to move the needle this way and play the music that I'm really passionate about. So it's been sort of takes time, and then it's like you spend a few weeks here, you're grinding, you're watering the seeds, and then you're gone for 3 weeks. Then you got to start over again. So it's been a little bit of a tough balancing act for me to make the, really get sort of the wheel going in town. But I'm enjoying playing gigs a lot more than I was before. And
Yeah.
I'm finding a lot more just personal enjoyment in that.
Totally.
Instead of just having this pressure all the time that I put on myself that, I didn't post a monthly calendar with 40 fucking shows on it anymore. I don't care anymore. It's like I don't have anything to prove to anybody, but myself. So I'd rather just focus on quality right now. And then, I think that's just the next transition for me personally.
That's how I've been though too. Post pandemic, I play basically 2, sometimes 3 nights a week at the most, and it's very rare that I even do that. And pre-pandemic, I was doing 5 and 6 nights a week, so I am way happier.
Yeah. I mean, there's other things in life, but also your health. My health in general, overall health and wellness is like top priority for me now. Where for the majority of 20 years of my career, it's always just been gigs and my calendar and work. And, at some point that becomes unhealthy. So, I think it just try and find that right balance is really where I'm at.
We want to actually talk in depth about health that and just travel health and all that stuff. But I wanted to wrap up with all the music stuff, and we were wondering if like what your favorite music or remix producer, anybody. It doesn't have to be DJ related, but just person that you're all about right now.
I think it's hard to put it on one right now for me again, but a few at least are Black Coffee is that's someone that I've been a fan of since before he blew up again. That whole sound, the Afro house sound, that very organic, Tulum sound of what people are really doing in other parts of the world. That's something I'm connected with a lot. So Black Coffee, Carlita, Blondish, I mentioned John Summit, Dom Dalla.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all like, I think right now those names globally are huge. And I think that with streaming services, they're becoming more and more recognizable to people that maybe weren't fans of that music before. So that's kind of sort of where I'm at. And then it's like, I still have like my favorite go-to club tracks. If I'm playing a set, it's always things like, Calvin Harris, Feel So Close, and Swedish House Mafia, Don't You Worry Child, Pursuit of Happiness, All I Do Is Win. I mean, however you want to like, but those things always work no matter what. When you're playing in, an open format room or a mainstream club, any of those to me are always going to work. But it's on a personal level, those other artists I mentioned, that's more the direction that I'm that's the space that I'm really passionate about right now.
So have you started or are curating your own party in Austin?
That's what I've been working on. So,
Yeah.
there's a few groups here that I've been talking to, but that is the overall goal in Austin, is to create some new ongoing experiences, ongoing events with established venues and hospitality groups in this market that, we can work together as partners. Like, I've never been somebody just to go in for a DJ gig pay or a promoter pay, a one-time. Like, my perspective has always been treating this like a partnership, anywhere we play.
Well, and that circles so much back to just your history and all your stuff. I mean, that's all the cultivation that you've been doing in Detroit and all that stuff. So yeah, it all comes full circle. And you can always tell them, like, you're you have a go-go dancer thing that you can always bring to the table. Maybe it's
yeah, man. That's my ace in the hole.
a go-go dancer competition. Maybe that's the move. Just kidding.
That's right.
Clubs
when all else fails,
do those. Clubs back in the days would always do that.
Wet t-shirt contest.
Yeah. Right.
I remember the first time I went to Jamaica, there was a wet t-shirt contest at Rick's, or one of those places, and I'm like, wow,
I've never been.
This is amazing. Oh yeah, you should really try it. I'm pretty sure they're still doing it.
Well, they're definitely doing it in Mexico. I have been to Cabo, and they're still doing shit like that. But
there you go.
So one of the things too we wanted to talk about, kind of moving forward, you mentioned your health and wellness, and as somebody who's big into that, is there any tips or you kind of want to tell us kind of about your routine or what you like to do to stay healthy?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about this all day, so you might want to put a time cap on it. But I think the biggest thing for me right now is sleep. I think all of us, and still at some point in our careers, used to boast, I haven't slept in 3 days, or, I can fucking go all week without sleep, or I'm gonna be up all night working on these edits or some shit like that. Fuck all that, dude. Like, I need to get sleep. I guess it's like I've never had quality sleep in my life. So again, pandemic sort of was like a time where I was like, I could shut down, and I started to see just what a positive impact in, my overall health that just good sleep gets. That doesn't mean times. That just means quality of sleep. And so I got really into understanding, sleep cycles and the difference between deep sleep and REM sleep and how you do this and circadian rhythm and all this stuff. And, that's also directly affiliated with your diet. So, making adjustments to how I eat, cutting things like sugar. I mean, I went full vegan for almost the whole year, which is kind of crazy since I'm Middle Eastern and I'm from Detroit. Like, all we do is eat meat and rice our entire life. But, I made that commitment, and it had, like, my body just changed in general, like everything. Like, I had more energy, my skin was cleaner, I could think more clearly, I could sleep better. So I think as a traveling DJ, the biggest thing is finding ways to prioritize sleep. And then I do something called front loading. So I front load like all of the healthy things that I want to do when I get home, and I book them before I leave. So that means I'll book a sauna, I'll book a cryotherapy, full body cryotherapy. I'll book some classes, whether it's like reformer or boot camp or whatever, and I'll commit to those. And ClassPass actually is a great tool for that, especially if you're traveling. There'll be, if you get into a market, it's like, if you book it ahead of time, you paid for it already. Now it's like, no matter how hungover you are or fucking whatever it is, in my mind, it's like I'm throwing money away. So I have to go do this. So those things are like extremely important. I think, 10 minutes of stretching, even before a gig, 10 minutes of just stretching in your hotel room or whatever, that's like a night and day difference in how I move, what my attitude is, not just like physically, but mentally. It's like you got to be on all the time. You want to make sure you have the right attitude. You want to make sure your energy's up. So all those things I have sort of tried to make a priority. And I mean, look, I'm not perfect. It's not like I just hit a switch. There's some times where I just can't get it going. But the goal is trying to do it every day. I mean, I do meditate every morning. I do a small little. Go ahead.
No. Finish. Sorry.
Yeah, just as far as like the morning ritual, like 15 minutes meditation. Then I do just 20 push-ups and 20 squats, 50 whatever, and then I get going. And when I'm in a good stride and I do it consecutively, I mean, physically I feel better, I'm stronger, I'm more lean, I'm more fit, and when you're like that, you just make better decisions. Like, you don't want to eat shitty. You want to go to bed early when you can. You don't want to drink unless you have to. When you're in that space, it makes it a lot easier for you to have overall better health. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
totally. So I got a couple questions based on this. One, you still drink, yes, alcohol?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I got another question revolving that in a sec. But one of the things I want to ask, and as listeners to the show, as somebody who's traveling and trying to eat clean, are there when you're traveling, how do you keep eating clean?
I fast a lot. So I do a time restricted eating, which is pretty much like, for example, this Saturday I have a 7 a.m. flight. So what I'll try to do is I'll shut my food off at like 8 p.m. the night before. And then I just will try not to eat till I land, which as long as I can stay out of the Sky Lounge and not get fucking hit by those goddamn chocolate chip cookies. It's the cookies. Yeah. But, some back on story on that, like that's something I started doing, time restricted eating, before COVID. I've kind of trained my body and my mind to be able to just shut off food, especially when you have shows. That's like makes a huge difference. Like when your gastro shit is not good, it weighs you down all
totally.
over.
The fasting is fascinating to me, and I do a lot of weddings, and so you'll get that, filet mignon in the middle of it. I'm like, I just had to shut that off. I can't anymore because I want to go straight to bed. With the fasting specifically, and you say you still drink, how does that work? Or does the fasting include the drinking as well?
It's modified in that sense.
I would think without eating and you drink, you're blacking out, right?
It is. I'll have one meal. So that's also, anything like that is, you got to modify it to your own lifestyle. So like when I'm traveling and I have shows, I just try to fast until it's like we have the artist dinner or wherever. I know I'm going to eat with the homies before the gig. And then in those meals, I just keep it to like sushi, not anything heavy, not anything fried, salads, just shit like that. That just all I need to really get me through. And then it's tequila, which is, tequila is a natural stimulant. So I don't drink Red Bull. I don't drink anything like that. That's sugary or anything that could potentially like give me a hangover. So I'm really good at not having hangovers, knock on wood. Just
so tequila straight with like water with water on the side, just like in between the tequila
water.
And ice.
Hydration. That's I'm glad you brought that up. Hydration is key too. I take these packs called Element, and it's basically sodium and zinc, but when you're fasting too, it's a very concentrated electrolytes. So I'll drink those, especially when I'm on the road or when I'm traveling, or even if I'm just on the road in general. You get dehydrated from flying, you get dehydrated from not sleeping enough and things like that. So those packs help me. I have another hack called Athletic Greens. They make these travel packs. And, they have like chlorophyll and all kind of vitamins. Take them in the morning. It just kind of helps you stay clean and just keep your body functioning.
I got to
in a
look into
healthy
that.
way.
I've been hearing a lot about that. I heard a lot about
Yeah.
that. So that would be good, especially for traveling.
Yeah. I always sort of guinea pig myself. Anytime I try something new, I'm like a little bit of a mad scientist. So like,
Yeah.
mushroom coffee is another one. I mean, I'm a big advocate of mushroom coffee. If you get the right stuff,
What is
it tastes
mushroom
great.
coffee? It's the hallucinogenic one.
No. Is this functional? So there's ashwagandha, lion's mane, chaga. There's several different ones that are used more commonly now with what they call functional mushrooms. But coffee is another big thing. I try to stick it to just 1 cup in the morning. And when I travel, I'll bring some mushroom packs with me, and I'll take those. So caffeine's another one. It stays in your system at least. It doesn't even metabolize till 12 hours. If you're having an Americano or a double espresso at 6 p.m., you ain't going to bed. I don't give a shit what you're doing. So
I have been sneaking in that late night coffee just to get through the clubs, stay alert.
Yeah, and I mean, I do too. I'm happy to send you anything. That's something I really love sharing with, especially with the community, especially with, other artists or other talent. I think that became substantially more important to me during COVID.
I am going to be picking your brain when it comes to the traveling stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
About, the traveling health is something that I struggle with. So we do want to talk about your tips and tricks with travel hacks. And we got a little segment video we want to get into for that.
Ooh, I love this. Let it roll.
All right. This is a really amazing one. You're going to love it. Here we go.
I wanna fly away.
Travel hacks.
Wow, that's impressive. It's really impressive.
Yeah. All right. So I fly a lot for weddings. I've been staying fairly loyal to Delta. Loyalty is definitely a big thing. Any kind of travel hacks you got? I mean, we've heard the TSA pre's and all those, but anything else that you might think that's unique and helpful to everybody?
Yeah. Well, loyalty, you nailed it for sure.
Yeah.
I was spoiled in Detroit, believe it or not, all those years flying out of a Delta hub. Then I moved to Austin, and it's been a shit show. But nevertheless, definitely explore your market so you know what the right airline is to get you where you need to go mostly. And then invest in a credit card that has a big travel package. I use the Delta Amex Reserve. It's one that you don't see it as much as the other ones. Reserved for business, it's a high annual fee, but I run everything through my business through that. So I maximize my Sky Miles, and then I take advantage of things like Sky Miles shopping. So even things you need on a daily basis or whatever, I wait until I get emails where it's like, 10 miles at Lululemon today. Then I buy stuff. Or I just bought a new Mac. I was holding out. I got 10 miles. So on a $4,000 Mac, that's 40,000 miles. That's a free flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Totally.
Things like that, making sure you're using the partnerships with like Lyft, Uber. I mean, there isn't anything that I do that I don't maximize my privileges with. If they don't take American Express, I just don't go there. Or, if I can't utilize my loyalty, I will do everything in my power to find a way to do it. So definitely invest in a card that complements the airline or hotel, if you're using Hilton Honors or Bonvoy, and all of those partner with a lot of the credit cards too. So, that's a huge thing right there. And then as far as like moving through the airports, you already know TSA pre and global entry, all those things. And a lot of these cards offer those as part of their membership. So don't be discouraged if it's a $700 membership fee. American Express Platinum also has a great program because you earn Amex points, and then when you purchase a flight with that card, you can use your points and you'll get 35% back. So if it's $1,000 flight and you use 100,000 points to buy that flight, you get 35,000 points back. And that's still considered a full fair payment flight with your airline. So you still get your MQMs, or you still get your loyalty points with the airline. It's not considered award travel. And you get the miles back. If you buy a flight with that card, you get 5 times points. So, one thing that being a big guy and flying a lot is, I don't care about flying first because I want the snacks and shit. It's because I need the space. And utilizing those cards and investing in those cards and making sure you hit the milestones is totally worth it. It's totally worth the annual fee. And the annual fee is a tax write-off anyways. It's considered membership fee. So you can write it off to your business anyway.
I totally agree. As far as packing or bringing stuff along with you, any other tips and tricks as long as like to the health inside of the packing of the travel?
I roll. Like, another thing I do is, it's, I guess, a lot easier for guys because majority of my wardrobe is t-shirts and joggers. My friends make fun of me because I buy Lululemon shit, but one Lululemon t-shirt lasts me 3 years, 4 years, and I can unroll it, hang it up in the shower while I'm showering, and there's not a wrinkle in it, and then I'm gone. So, appearance is important, man. I don't care what anybody says. You don't have to look like a model, but like, look crispy at your gigs. Like, even if it's a divey gig, you should always look good. You should always look like you care about yourself. I think like the days of the grimy, dirty DJ isn't cool to me.
But I agree.
It just makes it look like you're a little bit more put together. So I roll everything. I put my pants in first. I roll everything. I don't know. I can show you my. I just was in Europe for 2 weeks, living out of a carry-on, and everything was. I keep a pair of runners in there. I have this.
So you stick with all Lululemon? I'm curious because there are so many new brands now, right? Is that just like that's your go-to, or because
that's been my go-to?
Okay, I'm not judging at all. I travel so much, and the wrinkle-free. I started bringing a steamer just for my suits because you can't have it looking all fucked up. So like, I'm not.
There's a Downy. There's a Downy air spray you can buy. It comes in a travel size too. So I spray your stuff with that, and then just run the shower on hot till it steams. Hang everything in the shower for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's like you went to dry cleaners.
That's what I do too. That's I use the Downy spray. I buy it in bulk.
I didn't know about the Downy spray. I gotta be honest, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, the other key clutch thing is fresh balls. That speaks for itself. Definitely keeps you fresh and tight down there. And baby wipes, man. Baby wipes really come in handy. So
baby wipes.
Those are some necessary must-haves.
I agree. And you could buy like baby wipes. You could buy like the Amazon Prime ones now, where you get like a pack of 24 packs for like a stupid price, like $11 or something like that. So
hella cheap.
And one of the things I wanted to say too, to your point of using the Amex card, Amex Platinum. So, it's $695 a year. That might sound like a lot to some people, but you get the $200 Uber cash credit. You get a $200 airline fee credit. You get a $200 hotel credit. So you're getting that fee back.
I think it comes with a companion pass. A companion pass as well. Yeah, it also comes with a free flight. Yeah, so I have that exact card, and it's by far been the best thing I've ever gotten by far.
For sure. And then there's other little things, like you get automatic Hilton Gold, which isn't crazy, but you still, if you ask for an upgrade when you check in, if it's available, you'll get it. You'll get a 4 p.m. checkout. You get free water, shit like that. All that stuff adds up. If you're spending 2-3 nights a week in hotels, all that stuff adds up. You get, now you get Hertz Winner's Circle automatic with that card. So, you know, you can rent, if you need to rent a car, you can rent the cheapest one, and then you'll get upgraded when you get to the pickup. So, you know, there's all kinds of little hacks like that I think that if you're starting, all these things are like, you're just looking at it monetarily, you're looking at it through a microscope. But after a while, you see the benefits of having these perks and these loyalties, you know, airport lounge access. I mean, that by itself, priceless. Like, you know, yeah, it's priceless. So, I mean, all those things I think are worth it. Although I will say that, you know, the annual fees are definitely higher than they've ever been. And I think that the benefits are less than they've ever been in comparison to those things. But, you know, a lot of the airlines and credit card companies have all raised their standards and their thresholds because they need to sort of drain the swamp, get rid of people who are kind of like freeloaders and bottom feeders that aren't really avid travelers, but they've either got this gifted to them, or, you know, their company does a lot of business, so they got diamond or platinum status. You know what I mean? Like that's what kind of messes it up for a while.
Yeah, I think it's doing a reset for sure. I've noticed it 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a question. I know you're traveling a lot. I'm just curious, the types of gigs, is mostly club gigs or anything else you're doing in those where you're traveling, those types of events?
Yeah, it's mostly club gigs. Right now, that's pretty much really what's all on my calendar coming up. I mean, some private gigs here and there, but you know, most of those are corporate events that are very exclusive, or I have a relationship with them, or I'm doing part of the actual event production, or I'm supplying outside services to them. So a lot of those are that was part of how I built my business in Michigan as well, which was, you know, as I start to become more in demand, instead of turning away business, I needed to curate other DJs in town that I knew could sort of step up to the plate and fill those roles. We would do all the other stuff. So some of that stuff, but mainly right now, just clubs and, you know, hopefully some other stuff coming up.
Tell us a little bit too about Detroit kind of growing up. I saw in the bio there was you used money from drag racing to buy your first set of turntables.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't the money from racing. It was part of the bet. But for people that don't know, you know, the whole Fast and the Furious movie concept came from Detroit street racing, and then they sort of took that and applied it to what was going on the West Coast with like drifting and things like that. But that's why Vin Diesel drives a Chrysler, why he drives a Mopar, a muscle car, a Hemi, because drag racing was born in Detroit. So and I grew up in Detroit, so we really didn't have much. I mean, there were no hobbies or activities or fun or vacations. You know, our hobbies were to go work on cars at the neighbor's house. And so, you know, both of my brothers were big into cars, and by that I was too, and got into racing. My brother was pro. My brother went semi-pro drag racer, and I was his little brother. So we had this whole game that we play on people. You know, he was kind of like the man, and then they would talk enough shit, and then, you know, once we couldn't get a race, they'd be like, well, fine, I'll let my little brother whoop your ass. And then here I would come, you know, I'm skinny, scrawny, fucking beanpole back then. And so we had a whole hustle about it. And at the time I was dating this girl, and her family was like very well-to-do and respectable, and I was out running the streets all fucking night, you know, drag racing. She's like, look, man, she's like, you know, you can't keep doing this. My family's never going to accept you. And I was like, okay, well, now what do I do? So there was this kid that was like always talking shit, and I knew he had a pair of turntables at his house. Every time we went over there, I would get on there, fuck around. I didn't know what I was doing. We set up a race, and it was like a handicap race, and my brother was like, all right, well, we're going to do this. I was like, no, if I win, I want those turntables. And he was like, all right, fuck it, I'll get you the turntables.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I end up whooping this guy's ass, and I got the turntables. And then I went over to my girlfriend's like a week or two later. I was like, well, I got good news. She's like, what? I'm like, I'm gonna quit drag racing. She's like, oh wow, really? And I was like, yeah. She's like, that's amazing. I'm like, I'm gonna become a DJ. She's like, what? Well, you told me I needed a new hobby. Yeah, that's kind of how that started.
And you're still with her, right? That's where this was going.
I wish, actually. I wish, but no. Unfortunately, that didn't have a half fairy tale ending. For me, it kind of did.
Yeah. Oh, to be young and in love again.
Oh.
Or one or the other. I'll be happy with one of those.
No, I love the story. I love the come up. I love everything that we've talked about as far as, just you getting into the clubs and finding this, behind the scenes growth and path. I know you run your own management company, but you are with Scam, right? So do you just kind of do anything that comes that's outside of your stuff that you can pass on to other DJs? Is that how that management company works, or how does that?
Yeah. That's essentially how it is. If it's anything where I'm not really, if it's an event I'm producing a part of it, or I'm providing any type of services or contractors, that goes through my company. And then as an artist, as Captn20, as a DJ, that all goes through Scam. So, and I mean, Scam has always been, I'll always be grateful for Sujit and the opportunities that, I was just having this talk literally yesterday with one of the guys. And I was like, sometimes we get beat ourselves up, or we're like, oh, well, maybe I should be doing this, or maybe I should be doing this. But at the end of the day, it's like, when you really take a look at least when I look at the relationships I have, and, the people that I've got to know and meet through this business, that I believe, were directly an open door from getting signed with Scam, especially at that time, it wasn't so much about social media. So we were more of definitely a tight knit earlier crew of guys, and everyone had a mutual respect, and it opened my eyes to what this could really be like, and also, it's like you have a camaraderie with these guys, and it's like you can chop it up with these guys, and they're not out to get you. Everyone's trying to do their own thing, but everyone at the same time has a respectful one. That's something I think is still very valuable being on Scam.
Right. Yeah, and that's just like you said, led from all the talent buying. Anybody that wants to possibly pursue or get behind the scenes with some of that is the talent buying and stuff. I don't know if there's any last things you want to mention about that.
Yeah, I think that, and I think this has probably come up before, I think that as a working DJ, I think there are a few paths you can take to grow. I think that now the world's a different place. Obviously, I think things like streaming and online content, video content, and all those things are much more dominant in your growth as an individual. But there is still, and we talk about network. I always say your network is your net worth. If you don't realize the value of in-person relationships and nurturing those relationships and cultivating those relationships and maintaining a good rapport with your clients, with talent buyers, with other artists, with other DJs, with booking agents, with whoever, it's all about how you carry yourself. It's all about, people want to book you if you're a good person before they do if you're a good DJ. At least that was always my philosophy as a DJ. And I've said this before, but it's like, I would always look for that. If we bring guys in and they were just cold and they didn't want to interact, play their show, and they leave, cool. Chances are we weren't going to book them again. But it was the talent that would come in and really want to be part of the event or the night and really like want to interact and communicate, especially being in a city like Detroit. We're not LA, we're not Vegas, we're not New York, we're not Miami. It's a small knit community. And, you know, the artists and the talent that took advantage of those opportunities, they have long-term relationships with the clients that used to come to our venues. So, you know, if you played my spot in Detroit and then you went to play Miami, now it's like my friends in Miami are hitting me up. Yo, you know, Drew is at wherever, or you know anybody? Can you hook me up with him? I want to go see him. And, you know, you find these people will look for you in other markets. And I think with Scam in particular, that was like a big thing that I tried to do. Not only was I trying to introduce them to the market, but I was trying to introduce the market to them, so that was something that became, you know, much more in the fabric of when people would go somewhere. You know?
I think it's important for people to hear what you're saying, because there's this false narrative of that as soon as you get on with a company like Scam, you've made it, right? And it's like, no, you have to give them the tools to book you.
You have to bust your ass still. And it's exactly what you said. Like, you know, I definitely have had my times where I felt a certain type of way, but at the end of the day, man, you know, every agency is going to have the same or similar philosophy. You know, at the end of the day, it's what can I do for you, not what can they do for me. Mm-hmm. You know, it's what am I contributing? Why am I valuable? Why am I going to stand out over 20 or 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 other artists on this roster? And, you know, it also is you as an individual, you have to have a more clear vision of where you want to be. And, you know, I think if I like look back at like what I could have done different or where I would have wanted to be, you know, when you're in that hamster wheel and you're playing 150 gigs a year and or 5 nights a week, you're in this smoke. Like you don't see where you don't, at least I didn't really like, and managing a company and doing all these things. It was a lot. It was way too much. I would never do it that way again. Although it was extremely helpful in moving my career forward. But, you know, now where I want to slow down, where I want it to be about quality, now it's like, oh, I really wish that I would have invested more into music production, spent more time producing, or, you know, I really wish that I was more excited or interested about creating a podcast or, you know, doing things where I'm moving the needle in other parts of my career, not just being a good DJ, like opening up to different streams of listeners or followers. Like, you know, maybe people don't follow me just because I'm a DJ. Maybe I started a merchandise line or clothing line, and that's how I get more traffic. And now I streamline them into my music role. Or maybe I'm a big advocate for health and fitness, and I really dig into that. And now I tap into that community, and now I can streamline that community into coming to shows or things like that. So, you know, I don't know if that answered your question.
It does, but I want to give you your props. Where I think you're wrong, man. And I want to just say it's that hustler mentality that you can just never do enough, right? It's like, I need to keep doing this. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. And it's like that hamster wheel of like, I want to do everything, you know? But fuck, man, I'm already impressed. Like you've done a lot of really dope things. And the fact that you're doing your own management company and something else I would like to say is a lot of these guys on the come up, you need to own your own city. So the fact that you took the bull by the horns in Detroit and made that your fucking city and do your parties and like made that a thing, that's a big deal. And that's why you're on that new platform and on Scam, because everyone needs to, like Fuse kind of run Cincy, right? You need to be the guy in the city.
Yeah, you got to be the guy in your town.
You got to be the guy in the town, and then you could be the guy, then you can move out. But until you're the guy in the town, you can't move out, you know? So
unless you're Stone Rock, and then you're a guy's guy.
You are a guy's guy. He's my guy. One of my favorite guys.
No, but what Drew was saying,
I actually house sitted for him one time.
Oh yeah. That's amazing.
He told me not to bang on his living room couch. I did not.
I got one rule. Don't do it on the couch. That's hilarious.
Go ahead.
I didn't do it on the couch.
All right, so this is a great segue. We have another stupid video to roll, and it's a crazy DJ story. It can be from a night gone wrong, a night gone great. It could be both, but we like always hearing. Obviously you had many nights in Detroit with a lot of other DJs and stuff. I'm sure you've got good stories. So we'll roll this video and we'll come back to it.
Wait. Pull what out? The dart, man. Got a fucking dart in your neck. You're crazy, man. You're crazy. I like you. But you're crazy.
All right.
What did I just watch? Was that supposed to be in slow motion?
Yeah, you never seen that scene in Old School?
I have, but is it slowed down? I can't remember. Is it like
that's
that?
what? He gets hit with the dark, and so they're basically like, it's his voice. Like he's starting to be like, he's blacking out. So
note to self: don't get high and watch Old School because it probably seemed normal to me at that
time. Crazy DJ story. Anything? Good, bad, funny, all the above.
So many. There's one probably that like always comes to mind kind of immediately because it was so random. But I was playing Omnia Cabo. It was like my first time doing it. And I found out like 2 hours before the gig when I landed that we could only play clean edits. So I was like, oh shit. Okay. God. So I had just come off of like a two or 3 day back to back. It was aggressive getting there. And I was like, all right, well, you can do this. And then I got it together and I got to my set. And at the time, my agent, we had like sub agents with Scam. He had come out to the event. So it was kind of cool. But also I'm like, all right, cool. It was great. I'm playing my set. He's talking to me. He's like, hey, bro, Tara Reid's here. She wants to come to the DJ booth. I was like, Tara Reid? Who's Tara Reid? Like Tara Reid? Like American Pie Tara Reid?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, bro, she's over there. Dude, she was a hot mess. But she came, she was standing in the DJ booth, she was whispering in my ear the whole time, or screaming in my ear like a banshee, whatever. I'm pretty sure she forced me to take something at the time. I don't know what it was. It hit me about an hour later. And I was like, this feels interesting. And then this carried on later on that night. There was this like completely random techno festival in Cabo in the middle of the street. And I'm there, I'm fucking all over the place. And who finds me again? Tara Reid. So I end up running around this techno festival with Tara Reid, who was smacked out of her mind. I don't know, you guys probably gonna have to edit this out, but whatever. It was I'll just say that it was the most random and interesting and scary moment I had because I had to find a way to escape her, and I had no idea where I was. We're in the middle of this fucking street rave, and in Mexico, in Cabo, and with Tara Reid. So I don't know, that one just stood out for some reason.
If you're watching really American Pie, like back in the days, you're watching American Pie. At any point, you think one day I'm gonna have to escape Tara Reid, right? Like,
I mean, that's kind of why I brought that up because I never in a million years would have thought that could have ever happened or why it happened the way that it did. But nevertheless, it was a fun night. It was a fun night.
Just because you brought up the having to play all clean edits at the DJ pool, did that become an issue while you're doing it?
Well, no, but it was an issue because there's stuff I wanted to play and I didn't have a clean, and then I'm pretty sure I was getting, again, whatever I consumed. I don't know what it was. I'm bleeding on that, but I was questioning myself. I'm like, wait a minute, am I playing this? Is this clean? Did I? And I was like, oh, are you asking me for this? And she was in my ear like, ah! I'm like, I can't understand what the fuck you're saying. I know I don't know if you're speaking English or if I'm impaired, but it sounded like it sounded like Animal from the Muppets, you know, where he's just like, ah! You know, or it was like if Animal and Fozzie Bear had a baby together, it would have been Tara Reid on mushrooms that day, and that's what that sounded like. Probably never going to get called back to be on this show again, but hey.
No, it's all good. No, we love it.
It's all good. It's actually amazing. It's so good.
Even in American Pie, Tara Reid kind of sounds like a mix of Animal and Fozzie. Like, I think that's just her natural voice.
Yeah. I mean, you know, God bless her though. She's sweet.
If we had a higher budget, I would totally animate that with Tara Reid turning into Animal, yelling in your ear.
Listen,
that would be the
feel free to make as many memes as you want about this.
It's so good. That's a great story. That's an amazing story. I need to rewatch American Pie just because of that now.
You're going to think of this every time. I'll send you guys a photo that you could use.
Oh, please, please, you have to send us that photo.
I will. I'll send it to you.
All right. So one of the things that we like to do and we like to wrap with, we call it the sauce. We've got another amazing video. The sauce is essentially, you know, any advice you would tell your younger self, anything you might do a little different, and or just advice for listeners, anything like that. So we'll play this video and we'll come back to it.
The name is Bootsy, baby. And this shout out goes out to Drew and Fuse, all the way from Cincinnati to the LBC Bobble. Yeah, I was told you guys are quite the chefs, and you got a delicious sauce that you cooked up. Ooh! And it drips that swagoo and breaks down the recipe. Yeah, and you giving up the pig, cause it's funky. As in good, that is, finger funkin' good. On the one by the power of the one. Yeah, without that, there is none. So get yours and be in tune with the one that loves you. Get it, baby.
I feel enlightened after that. That is that just changed my whole answer.
That's what it's there for.
Wow. Okay. What would I tell my younger self? Well, that's a great question, by the way. That's very Tim Ferriss, which is also someone that I follow. That's something I would recommend. Definitely reading more. I think in particular, there's a book that really had a significant impact in my adult life called The Four Agreements. And if you've never read it before, it's a really easy read, and it's very common sense. They're basically be impeccable with your word, which is do what you say. Don't make assumptions. Try your best, and don't take anything personal. And, you know, if I look back at my life back then when I was a kid, if I embraced those four things, I think that I would have made a lot better decisions in some circumstances where I made some bad decisions, where I was hot-headed, or I let my ego, you know, get involved with making decisions, or, you know, I had a short fuse, no pun intended. But, you know, count to 10. My mom always used to say, count to 10. Before you answer someone, before you decide to do something, have a knee-jerk reaction, you know, count to 10. You never know who's listening. You never know who's in the room. You never know who's watching. It's the same with DJing. It's applicable in life, but, you know, really when you look at what we do for a living, it's so important to have that kind of awareness, patience, you know, and kindness. You know, I mean, there was a period where I was a real dick, and wasn't because I chose to be. It was a product of really the environment I was in, and high level stress, and the need to perform better at a high level all the time at everything I did. And, at some point it can really take you down. So, I was fortunate to be able to get out of that smoke before it really did some real damage. But, I think that those things are really important no matter what you're doing.
I like those.
No, I think it's good.
I was gonna say, can you repeat the 4 bullet points just so I can write them myself?
Yeah, no, for sure. And 2 books that you could read, which are one's by Tim Ferriss. It's called Tools of Titans, and that is a remarkable tool. That was a game changer for me. I don't really have a lot of mentors growing up, so this allows you to get a glimpse into the mind of some of the most successful people in the world in all fields. So everyone from Cascade to Jay-Z to Warren Buffett to the world's strongest man to Arnold Schwarzenegger, they're all featured in this book. And it's like the Cliff Notes versions of, what their daily practices are and their methods to achieve success. And I've adapted those into my daily life all the time. And the other one is the 4 Agreements, which is, again, be impeccable with your word, which is do what you say. Don't make assumptions. Don't take things personal, and do your best. Someone calls you a cocksucker. Someone says you're a shitty DJ. It's cool, bro. Thank you. Now what? What are you gonna say? You say thank you. What are they gonna say after that? It's gonna eat shit.
The other book I was gonna recommend is that Tim Ferriss. It's either the 4 or the 5 hour work week. I got a lot out of that one.
Yeah. I have that. I have the 4 Hour Chef, which, by the way, I'll tell you, I can get busy in there. Yeah.
All right.
And
wait, what is that? What's the tips and tricks on the 4 Hour Chef?
It's the same. It's sort of the same as how 4 Hour Work Week involves. It's just like I kind of got into it as much, but not as much as the other books. But really, it's like, here are the fundamentals. Here's like sort of like your crate. What are your go-tos? What do you know you can kill any room in any set with? You have that in your house all the time. And then with those, you can make anything. You can make anything dope. So it's sort of funny. Like, I didn't realize the correlation between cooking and DJing until COVID, and I was like, oh wow, like I really enjoy this. There's so much I can do with the same things. Like, it's kind of crazy. So
yeah. It's awesome.
I'm ordering that audio book for my next flight.
You got it. I would recommend, if you do Tools of Titans, get it in the actual paper, in the hard copy, because you can highlight things, you can make notes, you can extract things. That's just me. I like to do things like that, where it's like, or you can get the audiobook and read along with it too, get a little bit more retention that way.
I'm waiting for the movie to come out, so I have to stick with audiobooks until the movie comes out. Because you talk about reading, and it's like, I don't know. There's no movie.
I know,
but I will listen to the audiobook.
Yeah, everything. Another good one is the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary that just came out.
Mm-hmm. I started watching.
I gotta watch that. Oh, you did? Oh, I haven't watched it yet.
I thought it was great, and he actually wrote the foreword to that book, which is the reason why I picked it up in the first place. I was like, holy shit! I never knew this guy did real estate, but it really breaks down to like being 6 or 7 time Mr. Universe. That's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
just trying to do 20 push-ups every morning.
Drew's just trying to take a bird scooter around the neighborhood.
There you go. Hashtag goals.
Dude, I got the funniest video sent to me from him one day, because I was like preaching to him that he needs like a morning routine, and then like the very next day he's like, this is my new morning routine, and it's like him on a bird scooter going around the neighborhood.
Well, they're all over Austin, so be prepared to start getting some new content.
There you go.
Every 3 days I watch somebody eat shit on a bird here.
It's so funny. My fiance, she like refuses to ride him because she works in the hospital, and she's like, I swear, like once a week we get somebody in with like a serious bird scooter injury.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's,
like,
that,
oh my
that's
God.
real life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's why they're
So-
banned most places, but I still love them.
I'm
hit
hearing
us.
that.
Hit us where everybody can find you on social media. If there's anything you
Yeah.
want to promote.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's at DJ Captn20, spelled DJ CAPTN20. I know everyone screws it up all the time, but that's Instagram, Mixcloud, Scam. It's all just type in CAPTN20. It should all come up, I think, for the most part. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm doing a guest mix for 5 and Deluxe Fade on their Diplo's Revolution show on Fade University. So that's coming up. Make sure you check in on that. And I'll post the link to that in my Instagram is my tool of choice. So that's where you'll find me most active and most of my gigs up to date. Let's see what else. If you're in Boston this Saturday, I am doing Cavo nightclub at night. It's a brand new venue from the guys that own Marielle and a few other venues. So that's always a good time. If you're in Boston, hit me up. And then next week, South Chicago, doing 350 Terrace in Detroit on Saturday. And then I'm doing the Pitbull Little John concert at Soaring Eagle, Michigan on Sunday. So
nice.
If you're in the Midwest, holler at your boy.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well, we just want to say thanks for taking the time to be on with us today and chat with us. We really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Until next time, that's going to wrap it up for today. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.